Hi, man, it's your girl T coming back with yet another right on time word. Listen, man, be sure that you guys are hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, turning them notifications on so that you get notified every single time a video drops, man. Listen, I got a quick word for somebody, and so I'm going to just get it out. Do what God told you to do, baby. Do what God told you to do. His instructions for your life are not going to change just because you're uncomfortable, just because you are scared. Do what God told you to do. One thing that life has taught me is that if you want what God has for you, you got to be willing to do it his way, man. If we can be real to whoever this is for, you didn't dance around that issue long enough. You've played with it long enough. You've avoided it long enough. And the real question that you really got to ask yourself is, do you really want out of that struggle, or do you want to stay stuck? Do you really want to see increase, or do you want to stay stuck? And that's really what it boils down to. Because if you're like me, man, listen, I ain't go through all of that pain, all of that hell for no reason. I'm here to get every single thing that God has for me. And I understand that obedience is the key. We can look in the Bible, man, at different people. We can look at Abraham, for instance, right? So God made Abraham a promise. And I'm going to try to make this as short as I can. But I really want to drive this home, that God is really dealing with us about truly obeying, fully obeying whatever it is that he's putting in our hearts in this season and really in this new year. But we can look at Abraham, right? God had made Abraham a promise. You guys should know the story. And if you don't, you can look in the book of Genesis. So God makes Abraham a promise saying, I'm going to give you a son, right? So after a long time, right, Abraham was in his hundreds, y'all. And to think that we be complaining when we feel God is taking too long, I digress, right? So Abraham at this point in the Bible, he had actually, got his son, Isaac. So one day, while Abraham just living his life, the angel of God comes to Abraham and he says, listen, hey, go take your son up to that mountain and go sacrifice him. Now, one thing that really like stood out to me is that Abraham ain't go back and forth with the angel. He ain't talk about how uncomfortable. He ain't complain. He literally made moves. He did exactly as he was instructed. So they go up this mountain, right? And, Abraham puts his son on the altar, right? And he had such a great faith that he believed that, listen, even if I sacrifice my son, because God gives promises and he don't add sorrow to it, I'm walking down this mountain with my son. So before Abraham could sacrifice his son, the angel stops Abraham and presents him with a ram in the bush. And because of Abraham's obedience, right, he was able to gain access into an entirely different level. He left that mountain not just with his son, but with his blessings. And so I say all of this to say, some of y'all say that you are waiting on God. Some of y'all say that, it's too hard. You got all these complaints about what God is requiring of you in this hour. But what I want to tell you is that your blessing, your next level, it is depending on your obedience. So be faithful and be found faithful. So listen, man, until next time, y'all, peace.